Hey everyone, Buzzwood here with some more pointless exposition here. I say pointless, it's not really pointless. Let me just make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. Good. I always do that because I've made that mistake in the past. Anyway, here to talk about Jaraci Cup number 2 right now and the seeding process primarily. Because there's been a lot of discussion regarding seeding in Jaraci Cup 2 versus how we've done it in previous tournaments, and I just wanted to make it clear how it's going to work because it's a little bit of a complicated process. Let's move over onto this Google Sheet right here, which I call duct tape for Jaraci Cup 2. The reason is because this is very inflexible. I'm hoping to make a spreadsheet at some point that actually will be able to update this, on the fly, so it can be used as sort of a general solution for all the tournaments that we're going to do in the future. But this one will work just for Jaraci Cup 2. And actually, you can see here, who is going to be seated where if you were to, if it were to take place right now. But yeah, so basically what we're going to do is I'm recording the results for a player who is, registered, because right now these are all the players who are registered for Jaraci Cup 2, right? You can see them here on the participants list. So they're all here on the spreadsheet. And for the previous tournaments that we're going to count positions for when it comes to seeding Jaraci Cup 2, I have put their, placings here on the spreadsheet. And here's how the score system works. You can see they're getting a number of points out of it. Let's see. I'll head over to Jaraci Cup 12 right now. If you haven't seen the videos, avoid this. This will be a spoiler. But so the lower bracket quarterfinals will be worth 1 point. So if you ended there, so for instance, Sanjo, Serum, Frosty, or Cao Shmao, right? They ended here. So they would get 1 point seeding for Jaraci Cup 2. You can see, for instance, Cao Shmao here, lower bracket quarterfinal he got in KC12. So that's giving him 1 point right there, yeah? The lower bracket semis are going to be worth 2 points, and then the finals are 3, and winning the lower bracket is worth 4. And then we move up to the upper bracket here. Quarterfinals are worth 5, semifinals worth 6, finals are 7, winning the finals is going to be 8. So that's how that works. And then the tournament that we're going to do here is a Jaraci Cup. It's Jaraci Cup number 2. We want to count the scores for Jaraci Cup 12, but we're going to divide them by 2 to show, look, this is not the same kind of tournament. You shouldn't get the same number of points for this. So Jaraci Cup 1 has a bigger influence on Jaraci Cup 2 than Jaraci Cup 12 does, for example. So that's where this point system comes from here. Now this is going to take effect later when we have Jaraci Cup 13. Then Jaraci Cup 1 will be an old tournament because Jaraci Cup 2 will have already been played. So we'll take the scores that you got for this and subtract 2 from them before we apply them to your total points here. Of course, we won't let anyone get negative points. That'd be stupid, but yeah, so older tournaments will have a time decay as well. But that means, like, if you win a tournament, that's going to be impacting your seeding for future tournaments for, like, 4 tournaments in the future. I'm not set on all the numbers yet, right? So that can definitely change. Tell me if you think it's not good or whatever. Right now, these are all pretty arbitrary numbers that I've assigned, but that's the idea anyway. Definitely this idea is going to be applied. I just don't know exactly what the metrics are going to be. Anyway, I also want to talk a little bit about how seeding works in the tournaments themselves. When we head into the group stage here, so let's go into standings, so it'll show us all of our players here. Oh, that shows the rank, though. How do we want to do this? This could be a little tricky here because there's actually not a seeding number I see now on the group stages, which is something I did not realize. So we're going to have to look into that for a second. I'll probably just have to assign everyone a seeding number of some kind. Point is, we're going to seed people into the group stage in the following manner. So we're going to take position number 1, and he goes into A. 2, he will go into B. 3 will go into C. 4 will go into D, right? You see that works? So we're basically just separating the players who we would expect are going to have the highest result in this tournament because they have the highest number of points. And then 5 will go into A, 6 will go into B, 7 to C, 8 to D, and so on and so forth till we've gotten everyone seeded into a group. And then the seeding will, like when we move into a bracket, so let's say the upper bracket, for example. So A Game Inks, he emerged from the group on top, right? If you look at the standings here, he is on top of Group A. So he's going to get seed number 1 when we move into the bracket play. Descaro will get seed number 2, Shrike will get seed number 3, Buzzwood will get seed number 4, right? In fact, that's... Wow. Anyway, the point is, That's exactly what we want, see, is because we want those players to be separated so that they won't meet each other. These players here, ideally, they won't meet each other until semifinals at least, but ideally until finals if they do meet each other, right? So what that means is that if you are seeded into Group A, you actually have a better time in the bracket because your seed will be 1, whereas, you know, Descartes, let's say his would actually have been 2. So when they play each other in the final, A game has the seeding favor when it comes to like the how do you say, the finals, yeah. And previously we determined that using RNG, which does not really feel good. This method should be a little bit better because it's actually based on previous performance. Who gets the how do I say? Who gets the, you know, seeding preference when we get to the final? Although it's worth mentioning, let's see, Maze was in A game's group here. Let's say he had come out on top, so he was in spot number 1. He'd be number 1 here. So if he plays Definal in the Fakara, if he plays Descara in the finals here, he's actually going to have the seeding preference because he emerged from Group A in spot number 1. And I think that's fair because that would mean he had to beat the player who was expected to win the tournament, the player who was at the highest number of points here when we started the seeding process. So hopefully that clears up the questions. I don't know, I might have just made even more questions. I might have to make another video going into this later. This is also not very edited, so I'm a little bit rambly. But tell me what you think. If you want, I can make like another video that's a little bit more clear about these issues. But I believe that should explain it pretty nicely. So yeah, put in the comments what your questions are, and I'll get to those. Anyway, I'm excited for Jaraci Cup number 2. It's going to be lit. And yeah, a lot of good players in here. It's going to be a fun tournament. I'm just hoping we can make it also as fair as we possibly can. See you guys then.